what should I do if my building I have installed a passive DAS supporting 4G, but I want to upgrade the system to support 5G? What should I do? What kind of solution can PROSE offer in this scenario?
Okay, very good question. So before we can decide on the solution, of course we need to know 5G. What frequency band is your 5G operating at? Of course, in countries like Europe, the 5G band will, and also in Asia, most countries of Asia, the 5G band will probably be in the C band or the 3.5 gigahertz band, which could be N78, N77 or N79, right? So when you're looking at such high frequencies, right, you have to evaluate your existing passive DAS. Do they support up to 4,000 megahertz? Let's say you want to support N78.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is 99.9% of your passive DAS is probably supporting up to 2,700 megahertz. So therefore, if your passive DAS only supports up to 2,700 megahertz, it is not possible for you to inject a C-band signal into the passive DAS because it will not travel through the DAS. So under such a circumstances, you have no choice but to deploy an active DAS. So what you do is that the active DAS is running on fiber. So you lay the new active DAS remote unit, and your existing passive DAS is just used for 4G. It cannot be used for 5G.
Correct.
Right. So you overlay a new active DAS solution that supports only 5G, and that active DAS solution, depending on the solution that we have the 8 band, which could give you 2 bands of 5G with 4x4. Now maybe in Europe you only have N78, but in some parts of Asia we have band 41, which is the TDD 2500 megahertz with about almost about 190 megahertz of bandwidth, and the C band N78. So in this case, your 8-channel remote unit could actually support 2 bands of 5G with 4x4, right? So, and you do an overlay on your existing passive DAS, right? Because the passive doesn't support. But of course, if your passive DAS, when you build it, because it's quite new, the passive components that you use is supporting up to 4,000 megahertz, for example, right? So what happens is, in this case, we could actually deploy a high power remote unit for C-band and inject this C-band signal into the passive DAS, because the DAS itself supports up to 4,000 megahertz, right? So this will be a much cheaper way to provide 5G for your building, but unfortunately, because your passive DAS could only be SISO, so the 5G signal that you use will only have SISO. But of course, from a cost perspective, this is the cheapest option to upgrade to 5G if the passive DAS supports 4,000 megahertz. And of course, in many cases, if it's a building that is not so congested, what you want is just a 5G signal in building. So when customers turn on their phone, oh, I have a 5G signal. The customer doesn't have to know whether is it MIMO or no MIMO. They just want to see 5G on their phone. Yes. And the capacity of the building is not so high. So these are the choices that you have when you want to consider adding 5G to your existing infrastructure, right? Whether can you use back the existing infra, or you have to overlay a new active DAS to support 5G.